What's up guys, welcome to AnimeKouhai. If you'd like to help me out, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel.
He snapped at Vega, trying to shut him up. But Vega wasn't one to pick up on subtle cues.
Huh? After all that tough talk, that Michael guy still lost? How pathetic.
And on he went, continuing to speak. This was enough to push Feldway into a rage.
I said shut up.
Feldway shouted, unleashing a fierce and brutal attack on Vega.
Whoa, this guy is unreal.
The difference between them was vast, like night and day. The gap in power between Feldway and Vega was insurmountable. Yet, even after realizing this, Vega still wouldn't keep quiet.
Hey, are you saying I'm wrong? Michael lost because he was weak. In this world, strength is all that matters. There's no justice or any of that crap if you're dead. Am I right?
Though his words might have seemed provocative, they simply reflected Vega's honest beliefs and guiding principle. In a way, it was a solid argument and a truth of sorts. But even so, Feldway couldn't bring himself to agree.
Don't you dare speak of Michael-sama that way.
He tried to silence Vega with a punch, as if to counter those words. But Vega still wouldn't stop.
What the hell are you talking about? Look, you didn't give a damn when that bastard Cornu died, and you didn't care when I devoured Oria and Arios, right? Come on, that's because you knew I was right, wasn't it? Am I wrong?
He wasn't wrong. Feldway hadn't been saddened by Cornu's death. More than that, he had been frustrated by the mission's failure and was already planning the next move. This was the same attitude he had toward his old comrades. To him, Oria and Arios were just pawns, insignificant beings. When he found out that Vega had consumed them, his only thought was that it wasn't a waste if it led to Vega's growth. So, he hadn't blamed Vega. In fact, he considered it a way to strengthen their forces.
Insolent loudmouth.
Hey, that's just who I am.
Feldway was slightly unnerved that his true feelings had been noticed. He intensified the pressure on Vega to prevent him from picking up on it.
What would you understand? I am pursuing a higher goal, and to achieve it, I will sacrifice anything.
Vega cut him off, yelling back.
Shut up, don't be so naive.
Despite the overwhelming pressure that was crushing the space around them, resistance should have been impossible. Yet, even so, Vega continued to argue fiercely.
Besides, everyone knows the world is a brutal place.
Vega had survived in a harsh environment. Because of this, his words carried weight. Feldway fell silent for a moment, allowing Vega to continue.
My boss, Yuki, tried to fight against all that absurdity. Looking back, I wonder how he managed with so little power. But even so, I believed in him. I was ready to take him down if he showed any weakness, but Yuki had a tricky character. He never let his guard down. And in the end, he pretended to be controlled, didn't he?
So what? That Yuki is gone from this world too.
Yeah, that's right. Even Yuki couldn't do it. When faced with such an overwhelming difference in power, no matter how noble or righteous you are, it's all pointless.
It was true that he had wanted to mock Yuki when he heard about him being controlled. However, Vega had felt a dangerous aura from Yuki deep in his heart. He figured it might have been a habit he picked up over the years, but deep down, he seemed to instinctively sense that Yuki wasn't actually being controlled. He was relieved that he hadn't gotten too involved with Yuki, and when he heard that Yuki had been killed by Jahil, he reflected on the fleeting nature of life. That's why Vega said to Feldway,
A world where everyone lives happily ever after is nothing but a fantasy. That's why you have to be straightforward, right?
Straightforward, you say.
Exactly. As long as the unchanging truth remains that power rules, the only right thing to do is to be at the top.
Vega reaffirmed his belief that power is justice. No matter how noble an idea might be, it's worthless if it can't be achieved. On the other hand, as long as you can make it happen, anything goes. In short, the only thing that matters is not losing. No matter how ruthless your actions are, they're justified as long as you're not defeated. No matter how cowardly you are, you win as long as you're the last one standing. That was Vega's philosophy. From his viewpoint, Michael, having lost, was of no value. It puzzled him why Feldway, who was far stronger, would grieve over a failure.
You're powerful, General. Even Jahil, who defeated Yuki, is no match for you. That Velzard woman is a beast too, but I'd say you're better than her. And of course, you're stronger than that Michael guy. That's why, from now on, you're the leader. No one's going to challenge that.
Vega declared this without hesitation, as it seemed only natural that Feldway, being so strong, should lead.
You're a straightforward man.
Feldway remarked.
Come on, cut the flattery, you're making me blush.
I didn't mean it as praise.
Feldway thought with a sigh. But at that moment, he realized that his sorrow over losing Michael was starting to fade. It suddenly occurred to him that maybe this was Vega's way of offering comfort.
Power. Huh. There's certainly not much to lose in that regard.
Although Michael was gone, his power had returned to Feldway. There had been a small loss, but that was only because Michael had used the last of his strength to pass it on to Feldway. It was proof that his friend had cared for him. With that in mind, Feldway couldn't let it go to waste. It might have been wrong to take a comrade's power as Vega did, but the end result was the same. Feldway didn't intend to blame Vega, and now he even felt a sense of camaraderie with him.
Very well. From this moment on, I will take the throne in Michael Soma's place. I vow to you that I will protect it until Voldanova Soma is restored.
Now that his resolve was firm, all that was left was to act. Feldway had always been loyal to Michael. Because of that, he had kept his true form hidden to maintain a low profile, but now there was no longer any reason to hold back. To fully harness the power Michael had left him, it was time to release everything and inhabit the true form he had concealed in the other world.
It's been a long time since I have shown my true self.
Feldway, the first servant created by Veldanova, closely resembled his creator. While Veldanova's long, jet-black hair held the brilliance of the stars, Feldway's long, silvery white hair symbolized a radiant light. His narrow, slitted eyes shimmered like blue stars, exuding a cool and almost divine aura. Rather than being described as simply beautiful, it was more accurate to call them celestial. Within those eyes was a will of iron, filled with unwavering determination. It seemed unbelievable to think he had once appeared like a lifeless doll. His beauty was so overwhelming that his gender seemed almost indiscernible, though it was his incredible presence that truly stood out. All the powers that Michael had accumulated now resided within Feldway. Under the control of Mana's, Michael, 4 angelic ultimate skills remained, excluding the 3, Knowledge King Raphael, Covenant King Uriel, and Hope King Sariel. The associated powers linked to these skills were still intact as information. Additionally, the factors of Velzard and Velgrind, 2 true dragons, had become part of his very being. In terms of power, Feldway was now more formidable than ever.
Incredible, he's really a monster.
Vega murmured to himself, unintentionally letting his true thoughts slip out. Feldway was emitting an energy so overwhelming that he was no longer the person he once was.
Vega, you have awakened me. I owe you my thanks.
Hey, don't mention it.
Vega grinned, slightly embarrassed, but quickly regained his composure, adding more in his usual grumpy tone.
But remember this. I'm always gunning for you. I can't take you down now, so I'll stick with you, but if you ever slip up, I'll devour you.
Without a doubt, this was Vega's genuine intent, even if it was cloaked in his embarrassment. Feldway, fully aware of this, nodded with satisfaction.
I am counting on you.
Feldway smiled, radiating a chilling aura that was completely different from before.
Volume 20, Chapter 1. The First Showdown.
In what was once Urizania, at the designated site for Demon Lord Milam's new capital, an intense battle was raging. Esprit was locked in a deadly struggle against the antlion, Peliod.
Honestly, I'm not usually one to take fighting this seriously.
The battle felt so hopeless that she couldn't help but feel like complaining. Peliod, who could nullify magic, was the worst possible opponent for Esprit. Even her nuclear cannon spell, fired at close range, was effortlessly deflected as if it was nothing. Peliod's prism barrier could reflect all kinds of magic, rendering Esprit's attacks useless. Moreover, the barrier didn't just work against magic, it also repelled certain types of energy-based techniques. Peliod was a natural foe for demons who relied on magic as their primary weapon. At this rate, Esprit wouldn't even be able to stall for time. Frustration over her own powerlessness welled up inside her. Then, unexpectedly, someone arrived to assist.
Let me give you a hand.
Phobio, who had handed over command of his unit to Sufia, stepped in to help Esprit with those words. Although he was supposed to be backing up Sufia, each of the Winged Beast Knights was a seasoned warrior. They could act appropriately even without direct orders, and their units were well coordinated. The morale of the entire army was boosted when both the commander and second in command fought at the front rather than staying behind. Usually, it was Sufia who charged ahead, but this time, Phobio took the lead.
You know this guy's seriously tough, right?
Well, yeah. But I'm a better match for her than you, aren't I?
He had a point. Esprit excelled in magic, but Phobio's strength lay in physical combat. Even against an enemy who nullified magic, Phobio had a decent chance of finding a way to win.
Well, you're probably right. In that case, I'll fight using this as well.
Esprit decided to rely on her magic sword to try and turn the tide of battle, even though she had intended to do so from the start. Now, Esprit, with her sword ready, and Phobio in his half-beast form, were facing off against the elegant yet deadly Peliod. It was 2 against 1. Even so, they were at a severe disadvantage in terms of strength. Esprit stepped forward and swung her sword. Her technique was so refined that it was hard to believe she was an amateur not too long ago. Though she had only taken up swordsmanship as a hobby, Esprit had an obsessive personality. She practiced relentlessly in her free time, repeating the katas Agera had taught her over and over. The result was a dazzling display of skill, mastered in a very short time. But sadly, Peliod was always one step ahead.
It's just an illusion. It's so convincing you can barely tell it's fake.
Just as she thought she had landed a hit, Peliod vanished, dissolving into particles of light. For a moment, Esprit believed it was an afterimage, but she quickly realized that wasn't the case as Peliod then split into multiple bodies. Even with Esprit's ultra-intuition, she couldn't distinguish which one was real.
This is impossible.
Esprit thought. She had hoped to at least buy Carrera some time, but now it seemed she'd be lucky just to stall for a little longer. Phobio's help was appreciated, but it felt like only a small drop in a vast ocean.
Well, honestly, it's better than nothing, right?
This wasn't a battle that could be won by simply teaming up. Peliod's strength was overwhelming. Sure enough, Esprit and Phobio were soon under attack from all directions. They struggled to defend themselves from the relentless assault, unable to identify the real Peliod. Esprit had a practical mindset and hated wasting time on futile efforts. She wanted to abandon the fight and reset the battle. However, dying was not an option.
Even if I could be revived, that would mean disobeying Rimuru-sama's orders. Carrera-sama would be furious, and I'd never forgive myself.
So, Esprit couldn't afford to die. At the same time, retreating from the front line was impossible, leaving her stuck in a no-win situation.
A big thanks to the AnimeKouhai patrons who made this video possible. Jared Bressler, Havox, Speed Saber, Curtis Loban, Judah Herrera, Just a Guy, Miss L.W. Hernandez, Jason Martin, Zach Rosen, Jerry Sladek, Ray Perez, Jay, Donald Williams, Moab A, Day of Light, John M, Godman Gaming, Markithian Tidwell, Adrian, Kumo, Sanketh Chelu, T. Bush, JV, Thomas, Christ, Joshua Cousins, Jose Hernandez, Khalid, Christian Deshazer, Divine C. Harris, Montyboy98, Ruben, Yuki Iki, Gray, Kemal Ebanks, Isaac, Koala King 93, Quilly Buckner, Alver, Normal Defate, Vicente Baharias, Joshua Andrade, L, Gary Miles, Dragon Spawn 666, J. Rule, Leiron Sangkap, Lucas Guet, Jason Martin, Ekotski, Sky T, Diego Ginoza, Andre Hamilton, Martin Ramos, Guy Ensley, Simon Rode, Emperor WSA, Miko Espinosa, George Hage, Pratik Bandari, Jackson Early, Smexy, Carl Stephen Bernadal, Gareth Hashimoto, Steven Madison, Vasto Lord, Marl Barsha, Ralph Ignacio, Efrain Hernandez, William Locke, Kamal Luke, Spencer Candila, Ian Sikibiol, Thanacorn Lee Sawat, KACP9R, The Harv, Drayden Yamauchi, Alex Buthanu, Nathaniel Johnson, Michael Brinkley, Elijah Pierre, Michael Stern. Thank you so much for helping out. I'll see you guys in the next video.